Captain Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship, the USS Horizon. He looked out the large window at the dark space around Earth. 3 months ago, everything had changed. The aliens had come. The alien ships were huge. They hung in space like giant metal cities, their lights blinking in patterns that hurt to look at. The ships belonged to something called the Zephyrian Collective. Jake had never heard that name before 3 months ago. Now everyone on Earth knew it. Jake pressed a button on his control panel. A woman's face appeared on the screen. It was Commander Lisa Harper. She was on Luna Station, the big space station that orbited the moon. Lisa had been talking to the aliens for weeks now. "Any news from the talks?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. Her face looked tired. "They still think we're weak. They keep saying humans are good for work, but not much else. They want to move all of us to camps and make us dig minerals from the ground." Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. This was exactly what Earth's leaders had expected. The aliens thought humans were stupid and weak. They thought Earth would be easy to take over. The truth was very different. Dr. Alex Chun sat in his lab on Earth. He was looking at pictures of the alien visitors through his computer. The Zephyrians were tall and thin, with blue skin that seemed to glow slightly. They had 4 arms and eyes that were too big for their faces. They moved like they owned everything they saw. Alex had been studying the aliens since they arrived. He knew their language now. He knew how their bodies worked. Most importantly, he knew how they thought. The Zephyrians believed they were the smartest beings in the galaxy. They thought all other species were like children. "They have taken over 17 worlds," Alex said to his assistant, Dr. Kate Wilson. Every time it was the same. They show up, scan the planet, see no weapons, and then take over. "They think we will be number 18? Kate looked at the data on her screen. "Their ships are powerful. Their energy weapons can burn through anything we show them. But they only see what we want them to see." Alex smiled for the first time in days. The aliens were smart, but they were also proud. Their pride would be their weakness. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Rodriguez sat deep underground in a mountain in Colorado. Her office had no windows. The only light came from dozens of computer screens. Each screen showed different information about the alien fleet above Earth. Amy's job was to listen. She heard every message the aliens sent to each other. She knew their plans before some of their own soldiers did. The Zephyrians did not try to hide what they were saying. They thought humans were too primitive to understand their language. They were wrong. "High Commander Vexstar is getting impatient," Amy told her team. "He wants to finish this quickly and move on to the next world. He thinks Earth will give up without a fight." One of her officers, Major Don Torres, looked up from his screen. "What about their scans of our cities? Do they suspect anything?" Amy shook her head. "They see exactly what we want them to see. Primitive power plants, simple communication towers, basic transportation. They have no idea what we've really built." The aliens had scanned Earth many times. Every scan showed the same thing. Humans had simple technology, no space weapons, no advanced ships, no military that could threaten a galactic power like the Zephyrian Collective. Every scan was a lie. Captain Maria Santos floated in the command chair of her ship. The USS Defiance was 2 kilometers long and packed with weapons that could destroy planets, but right now it was invisible. The ship hid in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, using technology that made it look like just another space rock. Maria had been the captain of the Defiance for 5 years. In all that time, her ship had never been detected by alien scanners. The hull was made from materials that absorbed sensor beams instead of reflecting them. The engines ran so quietly that even ships passing nearby could not hear them. "Captain," said her second-in-command, Commander Rick Adams. "We're receiving the daily status report from the other ships." Maria nodded. There were 12 ships like the Defiance hidden throughout the solar system. Each one was a dreadnought, a ship built for war. Together, they had enough firepower to fight the entire Zephyrian fleet, But the aliens did not know they existed. Dr. Karen Wells worked in a laboratory buried under the ice in Antarctica. Her lab was so secret that most people in Earth's government did not know it was there. Karen built weapons. Not simple weapons like guns or bombs. She built weapons that could change the course of wars. Her latest creation sat in the center of the lab. It looked like a metal sphere covered in wires and lights. Karen called it the silence breaker. When activated, it would send out a pulse that could disable every computer and communication system within light years. The targeting system is ready, Karen told her assistant, Dr. Paul Grant. One pulse and their entire fleet will be deaf and blind. Paul looked nervous. Are you sure? It will work? We've only tested it on small targets. Karen had spent 10 years building this weapon. She had tested every part of it hundreds of times. It will work. And when it does, they'll realize they made a big mistake coming here. Major Pete Johnson stood on the surface of the moon, but not where the aliens expected. The public moon base that everyone knew about was just for show. The real base was hidden on the far side of the moon, where Earth's telescopes could not see it. From his position, Pete could see the alien ships hanging in space above Earth. They looked powerful and frightening. Most humans who saw them felt afraid. Pete felt something different. He felt ready. All teams report in, Pete said into his radio. Voices came back from around the solar system. Hidden bases on Mars, secret facilities in the asteroid belt, underground bunkers on Earth that the aliens had never detected. Everywhere, humans were ready and waiting. The Zephyrians thought they were dealing with a primitive species. They thought humans would surrender as soon as they showed their weapons. They had made this mistake 16 times before on other worlds, but they had never met humans before. High Commander Vexstar stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was 9 feet tall with skin that glowed blue in the dim light. His forearms moved constantly as he gave orders to his crew. He had conquered many worlds, and Earth would be just another easy victory. How long until the humans surrender? He asked his second-in-command. Our analysis suggests they will give up within days, Commander. Their technology is primitive. They have no weapons that can threaten us. They are perfect for mining operations. Vexstar looked down at the blue and green planet below. It was a beautiful world, full of resources his people needed. The humans living there seemed peaceful and weak. Taking over would be simple. He had no idea that deep below the planet's surface, Admiral Ben Carter was watching every move the alien fleet made. Carter commanded Earth's real military, the one the aliens could not see. He had been waiting for this day for 30 years. The waiting was almost over. Jake Morrison looked out at the alien ships one more time. In a few hours, the Zephyrians would probably give Earth an ultimatum: surrender or be destroyed. It was what they had done on 17 other worlds, but Earth was not like those other worlds. Earth had been preparing for this day since before Jake was born. Every human in the solar system knew their role. Every weapon was ready. Every ship was in position. The aliens thought Earth was helpless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Ben Carter walked through the corridors of the most secret place on Earth. The hallways were carved from solid rock, 3 miles underground beneath the mountains of Colorado. No alien scanner could reach this deep. No satellite could see through all that stone and metal. Ben had been the head of Earth's real military for 15 years. He was 58 years old and had gray hair, but his eyes were sharp and his mind was clear. He had spent his whole adult life preparing for this moment. The day when aliens would come to Earth and think humans were weak. The command center was huge. Screens covered every wall, showing information from across the solar system. Hundreds of people worked at computers, tracking every alien ship, every alien message, every alien movement. They had been watching and waiting for 3 months. Status report, Ben said to his chief of staff, Colonel Nancy Price. Nancy looked at her tablet. All hidden fleets are in position. All weapon systems are ready. All communication networks are working perfectly. The aliens still have no idea we exist, Ben nodded. This was the greatest secret in human history. For 50 years, Earth's governments had worked together to build a military that could fight alien invaders. But they had to do it without being seen. Captain Maria Santos was checking her weapons one more time. The USS Defiance carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Railguns that could fire projectiles at half the speed of light. Plasma cannons that burned hotter than the center of a star. Quantum torpedoes that could go through any shield. But the most important thing about her ship was that it was invisible. The Defiance looked like a piece of space rock to any alien scanner. Even if an alien ship flew right next to it, they would see nothing dangerous. "Maria," said her weapons officer, Lieutenant Sam Parker, "the targeting computers are locked on to 12 alien ships. We can hit all of them at the same time." Maria looked at the tactical display. The alien fleet was spread out around Earth, thinking they were safe. They had no idea that human ships were all around them, ready to attack. "Not yet," Maria said. "We wait for the Admiral's signal. When it comes, we hit them hard and fast." Colonel Ryan Thompson sat in what looked like a simple office building in Nevada, but this building was not what it seemed. Below the normal offices, there were 5 levels of high-tech military equipment. This was the control center for Earth's orbital defense network. The aliens thought the satellites around Earth were just for communication and weather watching. They were wrong. Each satellite was actually a weapons platform with enough power to destroy a battleship. "How many platforms are online?" Ryan asked his second-in-command, Major Lisa Chun. "All 412 are ready, sir. The aliens have scanned them dozens of times. They still think they're just communication satellites." Ryan smiled. The deception had worked perfectly. The aliens saw primitive satellites and thought humans were not advanced enough to build real weapons. They did not know that each satellite could fire particle beams that could cut through alien ship hulls like paper. Dr. Corinne Wells was making final adjustments to her most dangerous creation. The silence breaker was almost ready. This weapon could shut down every computer and communication system in the alien fleet at the same time. "The power levels are perfect," said her assistant, Dr. Mike Rodriguez. "When we activate this, the entire alien fleet will be cut off from each other. They won't be able to coordinate their attacks or call for help." Corinne had spent years studying alien technology from crashed ships and intercepted signals. She knew exactly how their computers worked. The silence breaker was designed to exploit a weakness in their systems that they did not even know they had. "Once we use this, there's no going back," Corinne said. "The aliens will know we're not as primitive as they think." Mike nodded. "The whole galaxy will know. Are we ready for that?" Corinne looked at her creation. Humanity had been hiding for 50 years, pretending to be weak while building the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Soon, that secret would be revealed. Major Pete Johnson was coordinating with resistance groups all over the solar system. What the aliens thought were mining operations on asteroids were actually secret military bases. What they thought were research stations were actually weapons factories. "Mars base reports ready," said his communications officer, Sergeant Julie Adams. "All 12 underground facilities are armed and operational." Pete looked at his status board. Green lights showed that every hidden base was ready to fight. Bases on Mars, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, in the asteroid belt, even on some of the comets at the edge of the solar system. "What about the moon bases?" Pete asked. "Luna Base 1 is ready." The aliens still think it's just a scientific research station. They have no idea we have rail guns and missile batteries hidden under the surface. The moon base was especially important. The aliens had been using it as a meeting place with human diplomats. They thought it was safe because it only had a few hundred scientists and diplomats. They did not know that it also had 5,000 soldiers and enough weapons to destroy their entire fleet. Commander, Lisa Harper continued her meetings with the alien delegation. She had to act scared and weak, even though she knew that human ships were all around them, ready to fight. High Commander Vexstar looked down at her with his big alien eyes. "Your species is fortunate," he said in his strange, musical voice. "We are offering you a chance to serve the collective. Many species do not get this opportunity." Lisa nodded and tried to look grateful. "We are honored by your offer, but our people need time to understand what this means." Vexstar's four arms moved, and what Lisa had learned was a sign of impatience. "Time is not unlimited. My fleet has other worlds to visit. If your people cannot decide quickly, we will decide for them." Lisa knew this was a threat. The aliens would attack if humans did not surrender soon. But she also knew that Admiral Carter was listening to every word through hidden microphones. Earth's military was ready. Dr. Alex Chen was analyzing the final pieces of alien technology. The Zephyrians had given humans some of their tools to study, thinking it would impress them with alien superiority. Instead, Alex had learned exactly how alien weapons and shields worked. "Their plasma weapons are powerful," Alex told his team, "but they have a recharge time of 12 seconds. Their shields can stop most energy weapons, but they don't work against solid projectiles moving fast." Enough. This information was being sent to every human ship and weapons platform. Human weapons had been designed specifically to exploit alien weaknesses. The aliens thought they were sharing their advanced technology. They were actually giving humans the keys to defeating them. Captain Janet Parker was preparing her stealth fighters for combat. Her squadron of 24 ships had been disguised as simple cargo shuttles. The aliens had seen them many times and thought they were just transporting supplies between Earth and the Moon. "All pilots report ready," said her wing commander, Major Chris Taylor. "The aliens have no idea we're actually fighter craft." Janet looked at her tactical display. Her fighters were faster and more maneuverable than anything in the alien fleet. They were also equipped with new quantum torpedoes that could go through alien shields. "Remember," Janet told her pilots, "we only get one chance at surprise. Make it count." Admiral Carter received a message from his intelligence officers. The aliens were planning to give Earth an ultimatum in the next few hours. Surrender completely or face orbital bombardment. "All units, prepare for Operation Revelation," Carter said into his communicator dot across the solar system. Humans received the message. On hidden ships, weapons powered up. On secret bases, soldiers took their positions. On disguised satellites, targeting computers, locked onto alien vessels. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would surrender without a fight. They thought Earth had no real military, no advanced weapons, no way to resist a galactic power. They were about to learn that humans were the best liars in the galaxy. The deception was almost over. Soon, the aliens would see what Earth had really been building for 50 years. They would discover that the weak, primitive humans they planned to enslave were actually the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Hi. Commander Vexstar was preparing his ultimatum, not knowing that his every word was being monitored by the very people he planned to conquer. Admiral Carter was preparing Earth's response, not knowing that in a few hours, the balance of power in the galaxy would change forever. The greatest military secret in human history was about to be revealed. High Commander Vexstar stood tall on his flagship bridge. His blue skin glowed brighter as he prepared to deliver the message that would seal Earth's fate. He had done this 17 times before on 17 different worlds. It always ended the same way. The primitive species would surrender, and the collective would add another world to their empire. "Open a channel to the human planet." Vexstar ordered his communications officer. The signal went out across space to Earth. Every human on the planet could see Vexstar's face on their screens. His four arms moved as he spoke, and his voice carried the confidence of someone who had never been defeated. "People of Earth," Vexstar began, "I am High Commander Vexstar of the Zephyrian Collective. You have 72 hours to surrender your world completely. You will relocate your population to designated work areas. You will provide all resources we demand. If you refuse, we will destroy your cities from orbit. You have no weapons that can harm us. You have no ships that can fight us. Surrender now, and your species will survive to serve the collective." And the transmission ended. Across Earth, people watched their leader's response with carefully hidden smiles. Commander Lisa Harper stood in the communication center on Luna Station. surrounded by alien guards who thought she was helpless. She looked directly into the camera. That would broadcast her reply to both Earth and the alien fleet. "Hi, Commander," Lisa said, her voice shaking as if she was terrified. "This is very sudden. Our people need time to understand what you are asking. Please, can you give us more time to prepare?" Vextar's image appeared on the screen. His large eyes showed no mercy. 72 hours, not 1 minute more. Use this. Time wisely, human. As soon as the transmission ended, Lisa pressed a hidden button on her bracelet. The signal was so small that alien sensors could not detect it, but it reached every human military unit in the solar system. The activation codes had been sent. Admiral Ben Carter received the signal 3 miles underground in Colorado. For 50 years he had waited for this moment. He turned to his communications officer and spoke the words that would change galactic history. "All units, execute Operation Revelation." Repeat, execute Operation Revelation. The message flashed across space to every hidden human base, every secret ship, every disguised weapon platform. After half a century of hiding, Earth's true military was about to reveal itself. Captain Maria Santos felt her heart racing as she received the activation codes aboard the USS Defiance. Her ship had been drifting in the asteroid belt for months, looking like nothing more than a piece of space rock. Now it was time to show the aliens what humans had really built. "All crew to battle stations," Maria announced over the ship's communication system. "Bring main engines online. Deactivate stealth systems. Charge all weapons." The Defiance began to wake up like a sleeping giant. Its massive engines roared to life, sending streams of blue fire into space. The stealth field that had hidden it for so long flickered and disappeared. Suddenly, where there had been empty space, a 2-kilometer-long warship appeared. The alien sensors immediately detected the huge ship. On the Zephyrian flagship, warning alarms began to sound. "Commander," shouted the alien sensor officer, "we are detecting a massive vessel in the asteroid belt." It just appeared from nowhere. Vextar rushed to the sensor display. What he saw made his blood freeze. The ship was enormous, bigger than anything in his fleet, and it was clearly built for war. "How is this possible?" Vextar demanded. "Our scans showed no large ships around this planet." Before anyone could answer, more alarms sounded. Another massive ship had appeared near Jupiter, then another near Saturn, then another behind Earth's moon. Lieutenant Susan Davis watched her tactical screen aboard the Defiance as 11 other dreadnoughts revealed themselves throughout the solar system. The USS Retribution emerged from behind Europa, Jupiter's largest moon. The USS Vengeance uncloaked near Saturn's rings. The USS Thunder appeared from the shadow of Mars. "All ships reporting ready for combat," Susan announced to Captain Santos. "We have target locks on the entire alien fleet." Maria looked at the display showing the enemy ships. For 3 months, the aliens had moved around the solar system thinking they were the only armed force present. They had no idea that 12 of the most powerful warships ever built had been watching their every move. Colonel Ryan Thompson sat in his control center in Nevada, watching as his orbital defense platforms revealed their true nature. All around Earth, what the aliens had thought were simple communication satellites began to change. Metal panels slid away to reveal massive weapon barrels. Solar collectors that had seemed designed for power generation repositioned themselves to charge PLASMA cannons. Antenna arrays that had appeared to be for radio communication turned out to be targeting systems for particle beam weapons. "All platforms reporting ready," announced Major Lisa Chun. 412 orbital weapons are online and targeting the alien fleet. Ryan smiled as he watched the alien ships suddenly find themselves surrounded by hundreds of weapons. Platforms. The aliens had been so close to Earth's defenses for months, never realizing they were sitting in the middle of the most heavily armed system in the galaxy. On the Zephyrian flagship, panic was spreading. Sensor officers shouted reports of new contacts appearing everywhere. Ships that had been invisible were suddenly visible. Satellites that had seemed harmless were clearly weapons. The entire solar system was revealing itself to be one massive Military base, how many ships are there? Vextar demanded. 12 large vessels, sir. Each one is bigger than our flagship, and there are hundreds of weapon platforms around the planet. Vextar could not believe what he was seeing. Every scan his ships had done showed Earth to be primitive and defenseless. The humans had no advanced technology, no military ships, no weapons that could threaten the collective, but the evidence was right there on his screens. The humans had been lying. They had been hiding a military force more powerful than anything the collective had ever faced. Dr. Karen Wells stood in her laboratory in Antarctica, her hand on the activation switch for the silence breaker. This weapon would be the final surprise. For the alien fleet, she had spent 10 years building it, and now it was time to see if it worked. All human units, prepare for communication blackout, Karen announced. Activating silence breaker in 10 seconds, she pressed the switch. The metal sphere in the center of her lab began to glow. Energy built up inside it, preparing to send out a pulse that would reach every alien ship in the solar system. 5 seconds, Karen counted down. 3, 2, 1, activation. The pulse burst out from Antarctica at the speed of light. It was invisible to the human eye, but alien computers could feel it like a hammer blow. The pulse was designed specifically to overload Zephyrium technology. On every alien ship, the lights went out. Computer screens went black, communication systems died. Navigation equipment stopped working. In seconds, the entire alien fleet was deaf, blind, and helpless. "Report!" Vextar shouted on his flagship, but no one could answer him. The ship's internal communication system was dead. He could not talk to his own crew, much less the other ships in his fleet. Major Pete Johnson watched from his hidden base on the far side of the moon as the alien fleet went dark. Every ship was drifting helplessly, their crews unable to coordinate or even talk to each other. "Phase 1 complete," Pete announced to Admiral Carter. "The alien fleet is disabled. All human units are ready for Phase 2. Admiral Carter looked at the tactical display in his underground command center. For 3 months, the alien fleet had held positions around Earth, thinking they controlled the system. Now they were completely helpless while human forces surrounded them on all sides. "All units," Carter announced, "you are free to engage. Show them what happens when someone threatens Earth." Captain Janet Parker led her squadron of stealth fighters as they revealed themselves around the alien fleet. The ships that had looked like simple cargo shuttles suddenly showed their true form. Weapon bays opened. Engine signatures changed from civilian to military grade. 24 of the most advanced fighters ever built prepared to attack. "All fighters, this is Red Leader," Janet announced. "Targets are disabled and helpless. Begin attack runs." The fighters dove toward the alien ships like hawks attacking prey. The aliens could see them coming but could do nothing to defend themselves. Their weapons were offline, their shields were down, their communication systems were dead. On Earth, millions of people watched as hidden military bases rose from underground bunkers. What had looked like mining facilities revealed massive rail guns. What had seemed like research stations showed their true nature as missile-launching sites. The aliens had thought they were conquering a helpless world. Instead, they had walked into the most elaborate trap in galactic history. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this day. They had built a military that could fight any enemy. And they had hidden it so well that their enemies never saw it coming. "High Commander," Vextar sat in his darkened command center, finally understanding the truth. The humans had never been primitive. They had never been helpless. They had been patient. They had been smart. And they had been waiting. The galaxy's newest military power was about to announce itself to the universe. Captain Maria Santos looked at her tactical display aboard the USS Defiance. The alien flagship was drifting helplessly in space, its lights flickering as the crew tried to repair their damaged systems. For 3 months, that ship had threatened Earth. Now it was about to learn what human weapons could do. "Target locked on the flagship," announced Lieutenant Susan Davis from her weapons station. "Quantum torpedoes armed and ready." Maria had waited her entire career for this moment. The Zephyrians thought their shields were impenetrable. They thought their armor could stop any weapon. They were about to discover they were wrong. "Fire," Maria ordered. 4 quantum torpedoes launched from the Defiance. These were not normal weapons. They could phase through matter, passing through the strongest armor and shields as if they were not there. The torpedoes flew through space, invisible to alien sensors until it was too late. The first torpedo passed through the flagship's hull like it was made of air. It materialized inside the ship's engine room and exploded. The second torpedo appeared in the weapons bay. The third hit the command center. The fourth destroyed the main power core. High Commander Vextar felt his flagship shake as explosions tore through its interior. Emergency lights flickered on as the main power failed. His 4 arms gripped his command chair as he tried to understand what had happened. "Report!" Vextar shouted to his crew. His engineering officer, Commander Zixanol, looked up from a smoking control panel. "Sir, we have massive internal damage. The human weapons went through our shields and armor like they were not there. How is this possible?" Vextar had no answer. In 17 conquests, no species had ever created weapons that could bypass collective defenses. The humans were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to be helpless. The flagship shuddered again as more explosions ripped through its hull. The massive ship, 3 kilometers long and home to 50,000 Zephyrians, began to break apart. Metal screamed as the hull cracked. Atmosphere rushed out into space. "Abandon ship," Vextar ordered. It was the first time in his career he had ever given that command. Commander Tony Evans led his squadron of stealth fighters toward the alien escort ships. His 12 fighters had been disguised as simple cargo shuttles for months. The aliens had seen them flying between Earth and the Moon hundreds of times, never suspecting they were actually advanced war machines. "All fighters, break formation and engage individual targets," Tony ordered his pilots. The fighters spread out across the battlefield. Each one was equipped with weapons designed specifically to fight alien technology. Plasma cannons that burned hotter than stars. Rail guns that fired projectiles at incredible speeds. And most importantly, shields that could protect them from alien weapons. Lieutenant Kevin Murphy dove his fighter toward an alien destroyer. The enemy ship was trying to restart its weapons systems, but the silence breaker had damaged its computers too badly. The ship could only drift helplessly as Kevin's fighter approached. "Target locked," Kevin announced, firing plasma cannons. Streams of superheated plasma struck the alien ship. The destroyer's hull, made from the strongest metals in the galaxy, began to melt like ice in a fire. Within seconds, the entire ship was engulfed in flames. Dr. Karen Wells watched from her laboratory as the silence breaker continued to wreak havoc on the alien fleet. Every few minutes, another alien ship would try to restart its systems, only to have them crash again. The weapon was working even better than she had hoped. "The alien communication networks are completely down," reported Dr. Mike Rodriguez. "They cannot coordinate their defense or call for help." Karen nodded as she watched the battle unfold on her screens. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could disable their technology so completely. They were fighting blind, each ship on its own, unable to work together. Colonel Ryan Thompson activated Earth's orbital defense platforms. 412 weapon satellites revealed their true nature as they opened fire on the alien fleet. What had looked like simple communication satellites were actually some of the most powerful weapons ever built. "All platforms target the alien heavy cruisers," Ryan ordered. "Priority fire on any ship trying to restore weapons." Particle beams lanced out from the orbital platforms. Each beam was focused energy that could cut through alien armor like a hot knife through butter. The alien ships, designed to fight primitive species, had no defense against such advanced weapons. Major Lisa Chun watched her tactical display as the orbital platforms destroyed ship after ship. "Sir, we have eliminated 6 alien cruisers and 15 destroyers. The remaining ships are trying to retreat." Ryan smiled grimly. The aliens had come to Earth thinking they would face no resistance. Instead, they had found themselves in the middle of the most heavily defended system in the galaxy. Major Pete Johnson coordinated the attack from his base on the moon. Hidden weapons all across the solar system were firing at the alien fleet. Railguns on Mars launched projectiles that struck alien ships with the force of nuclear bombs. Missile batteries on asteroid bases filled space with guided weapons that hunted down fleeing alien craft. All units report successful engagement, Pete announced to Admiral Carter. The alien fleet is taking massive casualties. They are trying to retreat, but our ships are faster. The aliens had brought 63 ships to conquer Earth. In the first hour of battle, they had lost more than half. The remainder were trying desperately to escape, but human ships pursued them at every turn. Captain Nicole Brown commanded the Lunar Defense Forces from her hidden base under the moon's surface. For months, the aliens had been meeting with human diplomats just a few kilometers above her position. They had no idea that massive railguns were pointed at their ships the entire time. "Target the fleeing command ship," Nicole ordered her weapons. "Crew, do not let it escape." The railgun fired a projectile the size of a car at nearly the speed of light. The metal slug hit the alien command ship and punched completely through it from front to back. The ship exploded in a flash of light that could be seen from Earth. Commander Lisa Harper watched the battle from Luna Station, still surrounded by alien guards. But now the guards looked terrified instead of confident. Their mighty fleet was being destroyed by the species they had thought was helpless. "Your fleet is losing," Lisa told the alien commander who had been negotiating with her. "Perhaps you would like to discuss new terms?" The alien's skin had turned from blue to a pale gray color. His forearms shook as he watched ship after ship disappear from his tactical display. "This is impossible. Our intelligence said you had no weapons, no ships, no military," Lisa smiled. It was the first genuine smile she had shown in 3 months. "Your intelligence was wrong. We have been preparing for this day for 50 years. We knew you were coming long before you arrived." Major General Frank Miller activated Earth's planetary defense grid. Across the planet, massive weapons that had been hidden underground rose to the surface. Railguns the size of buildings emerged from secret silos. Missile launchers that could fire projectiles into deep space powered up their targeting systems. "All planetary defenses online," Frank reported to Admiral Carter. "We have clear shots at the remaining alien ships." The railguns fired in sequence, sending streams of metal projectiles into space. Each shot was perfectly aimed at a fleeing alien vessel. One by one, the remaining ships of the once mighty Zephyrian fleet were destroyed. Captain Janet Parker led her fighters in pursuit of the few alien ships that were still trying to escape. Her squadron had destroyed 8 enemy vessels without losing a single fighter. The aliens' weapons, when they worked at all, could not penetrate human shields. "Red Squadron, form up on me," Janet ordered. "We have 3 more targets trying to reach the edge of the system." The fighters accelerated to incredible speeds, easily catching up with the fleeing alien ships. These were supposed to be the fastest vessels in the collective fleet, but human technology was far superior. "This is Red Leader to alien vessels," Janet broadcast on all frequencies. "Surrender now or be destroyed. You have 10 seconds to comply." 2 of the alien ships immediately shut down their engines and transmitted surrender signals. The 3rd ship tried to keep running. Janet's fighters destroyed it with a single volley of quantum torpedoes. Admiral Ben Carter watched the battle from his command center deep underground. In 6 hours, the most powerful alien fleet ever assembled had been completely destroyed. Only a handful of ships had escaped, and they were being pursued by human vessels that were faster and more powerful than anything in the galaxy. "Status report," Carter requested. Colonel Nancy Price looked at her displays. "Sir, we have destroyed 58 alien ships. 3 have escaped into hyperspace. 2 have surrendered and are being taken into custody. Total human casualties, 0 killed, 12 wounded." Carter nodded. The battle had gone exactly as planned. For 50 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. They had built weapons the aliens could not imagine. They had trained soldiers the aliens could not match. They had created a military force that could defeat any enemy. The Zephyrian Collective had conquered 17 worlds. They thought Earth would be number 18. Instead, they had met their first real defeat. Word of this battle would spread across the galaxy within days. Admiral Ben Carter stood in the communication center of his underground command base. The battle was over. The alien fleet was destroyed. Now it was time to tell the galaxy that everything had changed. He looked at the camera that would broadcast his message to every corner of known space. For 50 years, humanity had hidden in the shadows, pretending to be weak while building the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. Today, that secret would be revealed to everyone. "Open the channel," Carter ordered his communications. Officer. The signal went out on every frequency used by every species in the galaxy. From the core worlds of the Zephyrian Collective to the Outer Rim territories, everyone would hear this message. Carter had practiced these words for years, but now that the moment had come, he felt the weight of history on his shoulders. "This is Admiral Ben Carter of the Terran Defense Forces," he began. "I am speaking to all civilizations in the galaxy. Today, the Zephyrian Collective sent a fleet to conquer Earth. They believed humans were a primitive species that could be easily enslaved. They were wrong." Captain Janet Parker stood beside the Admiral as he spoke. She had been chosen to represent the new generation of human military officers who would carry Earth's message to the stars. Her uniform bore no decorations that would reveal how advanced human technology really was, but her presence sent a clear signal to any species watching. "The collective fleet has been destroyed," Carter continued. "We did not start this conflict, but we have finished it. Earth is no longer hiding. Any species that approaches our world with peaceful intentions will be welcomed as friends. Any species that comes with conquest in mind will face the same fate as the collective." The message was being transmitted to 3 escaping Zephyrian ships that were limping back to their home territory. Those ships would spread the word that the humans were not what they seemed. The species that had appeared weak and helpless had revealed themselves to be incredibly dangerous. Dr. Alex Chun worked in his laboratory, analyzing the wreckage of alien ships that had been captured during the battle. What he found surprised him. The Zephyrian technology was actually less advanced than what humans had developed in secret. "Their weapons are powerful," Alex explained to his research team, "but they are also simple. They rely on brute force rather than clever engineering. Their shields can stop most energy weapons, but they have no defense against our quantum torpedoes." Dr. Kate Wilson looked at the alien computer systems they had recovered. "Their navigation systems are incredible for long-distance travel, but their tactical computers are slow and predictable. They have been conquering primitive worlds for so long that they never needed to improve their military technology." Alex nodded. The Zephyrians had grown lazy and overconfident. They had defeated 17 primitive species and assumed that all other life in the galaxy would be equally easy to conquer. They had never met a species that was both smart enough to hide its true capabilities and patient enough to wait for the right moment to reveal them. Major General Sophie Lewis was preparing the first human expansion fleet. The USS Defiance would lead a squadron of 6 Dreadnoughts to the nearest star system controlled by the Zephyrian Collective. Not to conquer, but to make it clear that Earth was now a galactic power that demanded respect. "Our mission is not to start a war," Sophie explained to her officers. "Our mission is to prevent wars. When other species see our ships, they will understand that Earth cannot be threatened or bullied." The expansion fleet would also carry diplomats and scientists who would make contact with species that had been oppressed by the collective. Many worlds had been conquered by the Zephyrians and forced to provide resources and labor. Those worlds would now have a choice: continue serving the collective or seek protection from Earth. Commander Lisa Harper was establishing new diplomatic relationships with alien species that had heard about the battle. 3 different civilizations had already sent messages to Earth, asking if humans would be willing to form alliances against the collective. "The Altarian Republic wants to discuss a mutual defense treaty," Lisa reported to Admiral Carter. The Vegan Federation is offering to share their medical technology in exchange for military protection. The Centauri Alliance wants to establish trade relationships. These were all species that had been threatened by the collective but were too weak to resist on their own. News of Earth's victory had spread quickly, and many civilizations saw humanity as their potential savior from Zephyrian oppression. Captain Maria Santos was leading a patrol mission to the edge of human space. Her orders were to intercept any alien ships that might be planning attacks on Earth or gathering intelligence about human capabilities. The galaxy now knew that humans were dangerous, but they did not yet understand how dangerous. Captain, reported Lieutenant Susan Davis, we are detecting a small alien vessel at the edge of the system. It appears to be conducting sensor sweeps of our outer planets. Maria looked at her tactical display. The ship was clearly a spy vessel, probably sent by another species to learn about human military strength. This was exactly what Earth's leaders had expected. Open a communication channel, Maria ordered. The alien ship responded immediately. On the screen appeared a creature that looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard with colorful feathers and sharp teeth. I am Captain Santos of the Terran Defense Forces, Maria announced. You are in human space without permission. State your intentions. The alien captain's feathers ruffled nervously. We are from the Rigel Consortium. We heard about your victory over the collective. We wanted to learn if the reports were true. Maria smiled. This was exactly the kind of encounter Earth had been preparing for. Other species would come to test human strength and resolve. How humanity responded would determine whether they would be respected or targeted. The reports are true, Maria said. We destroyed the collective fleet. We are prepared to defend our territory against any threat. But we are also willing to talk with species that come in peace. High Commander Vextar sat in a detention cell aboard a human space station. He had been the most feared military leader in the galaxy, the conqueror of 17 worlds. Now he was a prisoner of the species he had thought was helpless. A human officer entered his cell. It was Colonel Amy Rodriguez, the intelligence specialist who had been monitoring collective communications for months. You knew, Vextar said, in his musical alien voice. You knew we were coming long before we arrived, Amy nodded. We have been tracking collective expansion for decades. We knew you would eventually reach Earth. We prepared accordingly. Vextar's forearms moved in, a gesture of confusion. But why did you hide? Your technology is superior to ours. Your military is more powerful than anything we have ever faced. You could have conquered half the galaxy by now. Amy sat down across from the alien commander. Because we are not conquerors, we are defenders. We built our military to protect our world, not to invade others. The collective forced this fight. We simply finished it. This concept was completely foreign to Vextar. Every powerful species he had ever encountered had used their strength to dominate others. The idea of building a military only for defense was something he could not understand. Dr. Karen Wells was working on new defensive technologies that would protect Earth from future threats. The Silence Breaker had worked perfectly against collective technology, but other species might have different vulnerabilities. We need to be ready for anything, Karen explained to her research team. The galaxy now knows we exist. Some species will want to be our friends. Others will see us as a threat that must be eliminated. Her team was developing new weapons and defenses based on technology recovered from the battle. Energy shields that could stop any known weapon. Sensors that could detect cloaked ships from light years away. And most importantly, new versions of the Silence Breaker that could disable any alien technology. Captain Nicole Brown was establishing new defensive positions throughout the solar system. The hidden bases that had been revealed during the battle were now being expanded and reinforced. Earth would never again be caught off guard by an alien invasion. We are building observation posts in every system within 50 light years of Earth, Nicole reported to Admiral Carter. If anyone approaches our territory with hostile intentions, we will know about it long before they arrive. The solar system itself was being turned into the most heavily fortified location in the galaxy. Weapon platforms disguised as asteroids, hidden bases on every moon and planet, patrol ships that could respond to any threat within hours. Major. Pete Johnson was training the next generation of human soldiers. Young men and women who had grown up believing Earth was alone in the universe now had to prepare for a galaxy full of potential enemies and allies. The galaxy has changed, Pete told his recruits. For 50 years we hid from the universe. Now the universe knows about us. Some will fear us. Some will respect us. Some will try to destroy us. We must be ready for all of them. The training programs were being expanded to prepare for every possible type of conflict. Space battles against superior numbers, ground combat on alien worlds, diplomatic missions to species that had never seen humans before. Admiral Carter finished his message to the galaxy with words that would be remembered for centuries.